Blood isn't everything, my stepmother said, rewriting grandfather's will. 8 years later, my receptionist called, Ms. FITZGERALD, your family is here with a business proposal. I looked at my Fortune 500 company logo and said, send them to conference room C, the one with the uncomfortable chairs and broken air conditioning. I'll be there when I'm done with Tokyo. I turned back to my video call with our Japanese partners, negotiating a deal worth more than my entire stolen trust fund. The irony wasn't lost on me. Here I was, closing international acquisitions, while the family who deemed me unworthy of inheritance came begging for scraps. 8 years. 8 years since I'd sat in that lawyer's office, watching my future get rewritten by a woman who'd been married to my father for all of 18 months. I was 25, fresh out of my MBA program, when grandfather died. He'd always promised the trust fund would be mine, $2 million set aside specifically for Catherine's business ventures. He'd said, he knew I had plans, real plans, not the cocktail napkin dreams my stepbrother Marcus called a business model. The reading of the will should have been straightforward. It wasn't. There's been a codicil added, the lawyer announced, looking uncomfortable, signed 3 days before Mr. FITZGERALD's passing. 3 days, when grandfather had been heavily medicated, barely conscious, with only my stepmother Vivian by his side. What kind of codicil? I'd asked, though the sinking feeling in my stomach already knew. The trust fund designated for business ventures will now be split between all grandchildren, biological and step. Split? I could barely get the word out. Equally, between you and Marcus. Marcus, who'd joined the family a year and a half ago when Vivian married my father. Marcus, who'd never met my grandfather before he got sick. Marcus, who'd spent every hospital visit talking about his revolutionary app idea while grandfather was too medicated to protest. That's impossible, I said. Grandfather would never. Blood isn't everything, Vivian interrupted smoothly. Father understood that family is about more than genetics. Marcus is as much his grandchild as you are. Father? I turned on her. You've known him for less than 2 years. And in that time, he came to love Marcus like his own. Isn't that right, Daniel? My father, weak as always when it came to his new wife, just nodded. Dad wanted to be inclusive. Catherine, you should be happy to share. Share what I was promised since I was 15. Share what I worked for. What work? Marcus finally spoke. That smug smile I'd come to hate playing on his lips. Grandfather's money was a gift, not a salary. I spent every summer working in his company, learning the business, preparing to carry on his legacy. And I spent the last 6 months showing him my business plan. Marcus countered. He was very excited about crypto bro. Crypto bro? I laughed bitterly. Your cryptocurrency for frat boys? That's what convinced him to rewrite his will. It's a revolutionary blockchain solution for social transactions. It's a Ponzi scheme with a stupid name. Catherine, Vivian's voice was sharp. That's enough. The will is legal and binding. Marcus gets his half. What you do with yours is your business. $1 million. I said numbly. You're taking half my trust fund for an app called CryptoBro. Don't be dramatic, my father said. $1 million is still more than most people see in a lifetime. It was supposed to be $2 million, the amount grandfather calculated I'd need for my biotech startup. We'd planned it for years. Plans change, Vivian said simply. Marcus needs capital too. His app could change the world. His app is a joke. I have patents pending, research completed, actual scientists ready to work. And now you have $1 million to make it happen, she said with finality. Or you can waste time fighting this and have nothing. Your choice. The lawyer confirmed what I already knew. The codicil was suspicious but legal. Challenging it would take years and hundreds of thousands in legal fees, with no guarantee of success. Vivian had been careful. I took my $1 million and walked away from my family. It wasn't enough, not for the lab space, the equipment, the staff I needed, but rage is a powerful motivator, and humiliation is rocket fuel for the truly determined. I pivoted. Instead of biotech, I went into software, lower overhead, faster returns. I lived in a studio apartment with 3 roommates, ate ramen twice a day, and coded until my eyes bled. Every dollar went back into the company. My first app was simple, expense tracking for small businesses. It took off. The second one integrated with major accounting software. That one got attention. By the third, VCs were calling. What drives you? One investor asked during a pitch. Spite. I answered honestly, pure, crystallized spite. He laughed, thinking I was joking. He still wrote a check for $10 million. Meanwhile, Marcus burned through his $1 million in 18 months, Crypto Bro launched with massive parties, celebrity endorsements he couldn't afford, and technology that didn't work. The app crashed on day 1. The investors sued on day 30. By month 6, Crypto Bro was a punchline in tech blogs. It's a learning experience. I heard Vivian tell people, all entrepreneurs fail at first. Except I hadn't failed. My company grew exponentially. We acquired competitors, expanded internationally, went public in year 5. By year 7, we were Fortune 500. Which brought us to today. I finished with Tokyo, deal closed, another $100 million in revenue secured, and made my way to conference room C. They were all there, Vivian looking older but still perfectly put together, my father somehow smaller than I remembered, and Marcus in a suit that screamed rental. Catherine, Vivian started. MS, FITZGERALD, I corrected, or CEO FITZGERALD, if you prefer. This is a business meeting, not a family reunion. Of course, she adjusted quickly. Thank you for seeing us. You have 15 minutes. What's the proposal? Marcus cleared his throat, pulled out a laptop covered in startup stickers. I've developed a new app. Another one? This is different. Crypto Bro was ahead of its time, but Brochain. Brochain? I couldn't help but laugh. You're seriously pitching me something called Brochain? It's blockchain for everyday bros. Stop. I held up a hand. Just stop. What do you want? Investment, my father said quietly. Marcus has learned from his mistakes. This time will be different. Like Crypto Bro was different from his NFT marketplace for gym selfies? What was that called, Swolecoin? Those were learning experiences, Vivian said defensively. Expensive ones. How much of other people's money has Marcus burned through now? That's not relevant. 5 million? 10? Not counting my stolen million. Of course. It wasn't stolen, Vivian snapped. He was entitled to that money. Was he? Tell me, in the 18 months between your marriage and grandfather's death, how many times did Marcus visit him before he got sick? Silence. That's what I thought, but once he was hospitalized, Marcus was there every day with his laptop and his pitches. I was building a relationship, Marcus protested. You were manipulating a dying man, and you, I looked at Vivian, you were enabling it. How dare you? How dare I what? Tell the truth? You married my father for money, convinced him to petition for trust access, and when that failed, you got a confused, medicated old man to sign a codicil that contradicted 10 years of estate planning. That's slander, Vivian said coldly. That's fact, but we're not here to relitigate the past. You want money, how much? 2 million, Marcus said quickly, for a 40% stake in Brochain. I laughed, really laughed. 2 million? The exact amount of my original trust fund? It's what the company's worth. Your company is worth exactly nothing. You have no product, no patents, no team, no revenue. You have a PowerPoint and a history of failure. Everyone fails. Not everyone fails with other people's money, repeatedly, while learning nothing. So you won't invest? My father asked. Oh, I'll invest, just not how you want. I pulled out my phone, sent a quick message. I just had our acquisitions team pull every public record on Marcus's ventures. Turns out he owes $2 million to various creditors, lawsuits pending, judgments outstanding. That's business. That's fraud, in some cases, but I'm feeling generous. I'll pay off all of it. Their faces lit up. In exchange for a signed agreement that Marcus will never start another company, never pitch another investor, never use the FITZGERALD name in any business context. That's cruel, Vivian gasped. That's mercy. The alternative is I let the lawsuits play out. How's bankruptcy sound, Marcus? You're trying to destroy him, she accused. I'm trying to save him, and every investor he hasn't met yet. Marcus is a serial failure who burns through other people's money with bad ideas and worse execution. I'm offering him a clean slate and a chance to find something he's actually good at. Like what? Marcus asked bitterly. I don't know. What are you good at? Besides convincing dying grandfathers to rewrite wills? Catherine, please, my father tried. He's your brother. Stepbrother, for 8 years, during which he's done nothing but take my inheritance, my grandfather's last coherent moments, investor money, family reputation. When does it end? When someone gives him a real chance, Vivian insisted. He's had nothing but chances. My $1 million was a chance. The investors he defrauded gave him chances. How many more until you admit he's just not capable? You had advantages. I had half the money I was promised and a family who chose a stranger over me. Every advantage I have, I built myself. With $1 million head start, Marcus muttered. You had the same million. Where's your Fortune 500 company? Silence. That's what I thought. So here's my offer, debt relief in exchange for a non-compete. Take it or leave it. What about family loyalty? Vivian demanded. You killed that when you rewrote grandfather's will. When you decided blood isn't everything, you freed me from any obligation to consider it. This is revenge, she accused. This is business, something Marcus might understand if he'd ever actually built one. I stood to leave. You have 24 hours to decide. After that, I'll let the lawyers handle it. All of them, including mine, who've been investigating that codicil for 8 years. You can't prove anything, Vivian said, but her voice wavered. Maybe not, but discovery is a wonderful thing. All those medical records, visitor logs, signature comparisons. Want to risk it? They didn't answer. I thought not. 24 hours. My assistant will send the paperwork. Katie, wait. My father called, using my childhood nickname. This isn't who you are. You're right. I'm not Katie anymore. Katie believed family meant something. Katie trusted that promises would be kept. Katie thought $1 million was enough to build her dreams. That girl is gone. You killed her in that lawyer's office when you chose your new wife's son over your daughter. I was trying to keep the peace. You were being a coward, and you cost me half my inheritance for it. You've done well regardless. I've done well despite you, despite being betrayed, undermined, and stolen from by people who should have protected me. But thank you for the lesson. It taught me never to trust, never to share, and never to give second chances to people who've already shown their character. That's a lonely way to live, Vivian said. Says the woman who isolated a dying man to steal his granddaughter's inheritance. I'll take my loneliness over your kind of family any day. I left them there and returned to my office, corner suite, floor-to-ceiling windows, everything I'd built from half a dream and whole lot of anger. My phone buzzed. Marcus had already texted, please reconsider. I have a family to support. I laughed. Since when? According to my research, he was single, childless, and living in Vivian's pool house. I typed back, blood isn't everything, remember? Neither is family, but debt is forever. Take the deal. 24 hours later, they signed. Marcus's creditors were paid, his business career officially over. Vivian raged about cruelty and betrayal, but she signed too. What choice did they have? That night, I called my lawyer. I want to create a trust fund, $2 million, specifically for young entrepreneurs whose family members have stolen or redirected their inheritance. That's very specific. It's very necessary. Call it the Blood Isn't Everything Fund, for when family proves that sometimes blood is worth less than water. Poetic. Personal experience? The most personal. My stepmother convinced my dying grandfather to give half my trust fund to her son. He blew it on an app called CryptoBro. You're joking. I wish, but I turned my half into this. I gestured around my office. Imagine what someone could do with the full amount they deserved. And your stepbrother? Just signed a non-compete. He'll never waste investor money again. That's cold. That's necessary. Some people are builders, some are burners. The key is keeping the burners away from the money. And family? Family is who earns it, not who marries into it or manipulates for it. I hung up and looked at my grandfather's photo on my desk. He'd wanted me to build something great. I had, just with half the resources and twice the motivation. Blood isn't everything? Vivian was right about that, at least. Success is everything, and I had more of it than all of them combined. Case closed, company built, family dismissed. And somewhere out there, another entrepreneur would get their full shot at greatness, not the half-portion family greed had left them. That was my real revenge, not just succeeding despite them, but ensuring others wouldn't face the same betrayal. Blood isn't everything. But building something from spite? That's eternal.